In this video, we'll be looking at infinite limits. Let's consider the function f of x equal 5x minus 3 over x minus 4. We know that as x approaches 4, we're going to have a vertical asymptote on the graph because we have division by 0. So for the limit as x approaches 4, we need to consider it from the negative direction and then from the positive direction, and then that'll tell us something about the two-sided limit as x approaches 4. So if you choose, you can look at the graph. The graph on this function, we see a vertical asymptote at x equal 4 and a horizontal asymptote at y equal 5. And our limit then, as x approaches 4 from the negative direction, shows that we're approaching negative infinity. The limit as x approaches 4 from the positive direction shows that we have a positive infinity. Now, since these two limits are not the same, then the two-sided limit does not exist. Now, if you choose to investigate the limit using a table, then you want x values that are very, very close to 4, but we can't have 4 since we had division by 0 there. So coming in from the negative direction, a really close value would be 3.999, and then not so close would be 3.99, and so forth. But you can see then that f of x approaches a negative value that's really large. If we were coming in from the right, or from the positive direction, a very close value would be 4.001, and then not so close would be 4.01 and then 4.1. And you can see that as we approach 4 from the positive direction, this value is very large and it's positive. So this indicates a positive infinity, and this one indicates a negative infinity. So let's find the limit, if it exists, for this problem, the limit as x approaches 1 from the negative direction. Now the graph on this, we have negative 1 divided by x minus 1 quantity squared. And we can see that we have an asymptote at x equal 1. The graph looks like this. So as we approach 1 from the negative direction, we can see that the limit is going to be negative infinity. Now if we wanted to analyze this limit with a table, we would, since we're approaching from the negative direction, we'll let this be x equal 1 right here. And so we would have 0.999, 0.99, and 0.9 as x values. And then we want to evaluate that then. For 0.999, we have negative 1 million. For 0.99 we have a negative 10,000, and for 0.9 we have a negative 100. So this is our function. So as we approach x equal 1 from the negative direction, we can see that we're approaching a negative infinity. So on this one, let's take a look at the graph. We're wanting the limit as x approaches 0 from the negative direction, and we would have undefined function here. So x squared minus 1 divided by x. So as we approach 0 from the negative direction, it looks like we're getting closer and closer up here to a positive infinity. So our graph would indicate that the limit as x approaches 0 from the negative direction will be a positive infinity. Let's also look at a table. So let's let this be x equals 0, and we are approaching from the negative direction. So negative 0.001, a negative 0.01, and a negative 0.1. Let's try x values for that. This f of x then, our y value, is 1000 when x equals negative 0.001, and it's 100 for x equal negative 0.01, and 10 approximately, actually 10.01. So we can see that as we approach x equals 0 from the negative direction, our values are getting very large, and so our limit would be a positive infinity.